Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I have part 3 of David Schwartz talking at the Apex conference last year. We're going to cover Project Clio. We're going to cover hooks and AMM. You definitely want to watch this whole thing. You guys are going to learn so much, and I'm happy that I found this video so we can get educated together. I hope you're growing in the crypto space, guys. You come to this channel because you want the best factual information in the crypto market. There's no hype, there's no bullshit. We just go over the facts and what's happening. And here we go, man. Let's get it going. This is going to be really good. Guys, if you want to support the channel, you can do that by liking the video, subscribing to the content. And if you want my sensei chats, if you want to really get deep down in all the crypto information I go over, I bring about maybe 10 to 15% of all the information that I go through on a weekly and a monthly basis to YouTube. So if you really want the rest of that, join Cryptonaires or think about becoming a super subscriber. Without further ado, let's start the show. Come on, David. Tell me what Project Clio is. Come on.
I mean, that's what we want, right? That's what we want. We want people who care and who take the time to make smart decisions. And yes, that doesn't mean we can't always move as quickly as we want to. Clio has been a huge effort. It started quite some time ago. The beta was finally released in the first half of this year. There were a lot of technical challenges, but it creates a massive storage reduction for servers that handle queries from clients. And that is critical to scaling the ledger. I think we all understand that people will talk about transaction per second limits of the consensus layer. And obviously the network can't go any faster than consensus can. But you could imagine a world where consensus could be ridiculously fast and then wallets can't keep up. If your wallet doesn't work, from your point of view, the Xrpl ledger's down. It doesn't matter if ledgers are closing every 5 seconds, they have 50,000 transactions and the core is working fine. If the infrastructure around that can't keep up, then the system is unusable. What Clio did is it created a new way to scale that sort of next layer around the Xrp ledger by implementing the API, the software tool, the software interface that developers talk to, optimized for scalability and availability. We run a cluster of servers that provide that functionality. The Xrpl Foundation does. Those servers will often handle 40,000 queries. So scaling them is extremely critical. Clio was a major effort in that regard. Clio stores ledger and transaction data in much less space than Xrpl does. Xrpl is designed to close ledgers quickly, to run transactions quickly, to reach consensus quickly, to publish ledgers quickly. It's not really designed for a wallet to ask questions like, how much money do I have? How much will this transaction cost? Those types of queries about the state of the network shouldn't be competing for resources with things like consensus. And so Clio gives a much greater separation. So it removes the burden of handling those API requests from the software that's managing the consensus layer of the network. This will allow more users and more developers to reliably interact with the ledger and really help Xrpl process transactions. Xrpl is what we call the Xrp ledger software. We need to rename that to Xrpl or something, but still Xrpl from the early days. Names are hard to change. So that will help Xrpl process transactions more efficiently because it won't be constantly dealing with queries. It is so important that infrastructure be stable. If you interact with the Xrp ledger through an exchange and your exchange's servers are unstable, you're going to get a terrible experience, right? You're going to make a deposit and it's going to take a while. The ledger could process it in 6 seconds, but if it takes the exchange 2 minutes because their internal processes are backed up, or a withdrawal takes 20 minutes because their internal processes are backed up, then your experience is still going to be bad. It's actually pretty funny. In the early days, we actually had exchanges who had to upgrade a lot of their internal processes because the ledger was so fast, right? If they take 6 blocks to confirm a Bitcoin transaction, which could be an hour, they don't have to process the queue every minute or every 5 minutes. They could process the queue every 15 minutes. And that produced a poor experience for Xrp ledger users. So the stuff around the ledger has to be as good as the ledger, otherwise there's no benefit. So Project Clio is a major improvement in providing that large-scale access to the Xrp ledger's features for developers, wallets, and all ledger users.
All right, here we go, guys. This is what you're waiting for.
Which brings us to hooks. This effort really, I think this is still the largest effort on the Xrp ledger to date that Xrpl had almost literally nothing to do with. We had nothing to do with the concept formation, and it came completely from Xrpl Labs. They've also worked on things like adding escrow and payment channel support for issued assets, expanding the signer list from 8 to 32 signers, adding some metadata, all kinds of other things. But Hooks is in a class by itself. Hooks is a bespoke, light, smart contract solution for the Xrp ledger. So it's complementary to an EVM sidechain. A sidechain that supports the Ethereum virtual machine will allow you to take Ethereum, smart contracts designed for platforms like Ethereum and those that are compatible, and use them with minimal changes. It's very powerful, but it brings some of the disadvantages of those platforms in terms of the complexity and cost. Hooks is like built around the XRP Ledger's philosophy of smart transactors and of sort of light, efficient mechanisms that are cheap and that don't like have the resource cannot do everything that an EVM sidechain can do. But again, like I was saying with XLS20D, it cuts out a significant fraction of the interesting use cases and provides better support for them than a more flexible solution that can be everything to everyone can do, because it's more focused, it's more efficient, it's better designed to do what it's.
And guys, understand this, right? Everyone's thinking like, hey, we have clarity now, XRP is going to shoot up, right? I told you guys this in tweets, in my comments, and in my videos that I didn't believe that the XRP price was going to pump with the launch of FedNow. There's just too few banks there, and you're still waiting on regulation for the United States, right? Banks are trying to figure out, hey, is this okay to use? Is this not okay to use? And there's still that uncertainty, right? Time, right? They're developing hooks, automated market makers, right? The infrastructure is still being built out. This is taking some time, right? So we can't just go to 100 or 500 overnight right now. We need all of this stuff in place, and then we need to start tokenizing value and bringing that onto the ledger, right? That is really what we need to do, as well as once all of these things are kind of settled with regulation and whatnot. G20 is working on it, and I'm doing a video on regulation actually after this video. I went around around the world and did all that stuff, but besides the point, once you have regulation from the G20, right, and the IMF and the World Bank, you're going to have global regulation where currency and funds can move across borders without having to worry about it.
So super, super excited about that. So it fits with XRP Ledger's core design principle, and its feature set covers many of the DeFi use cases. You cannot do everything you could do with an EVM sidechain. It responds to transactions in a certain way. It's limited to capability of what it can do. But again, it cuts out a large subset of the interesting use cases and it enables them. So very, very excited about that. That could be enabled on the XRP Ledger main chain. Whereas like EVM smart contracts, if you enabled those types of smart contracts on the main chain, you would lose the functionality for payments. Like cost would go up, throughput would go down, and we would lose some of the things that make the XRP Ledger great. So, you know, rather than having this great payments but no smart contract functionality at all, or full smart contract functionality, but anybody use Ethereum for payments, right?
No.
You can't, because the speed is so low and the cost is so high. So this gives us a nice middle ground that gives us, you know, for a significant set of interesting use cases, it gives us now something near and dear to my heart, the automated market maker specification. I almost said automated money maker, which actually is kind of, it's actually pretty apropos, right? So
kind of fits.
The XRP Ledger is a leading enabler of DeFi with features like the DEX and payments because of the design of the protocol. And the one thing that we have not had that traditionally most, you know, I think 90% of DEXs have automated market makers. They're built around it. The XRP Ledger's DEX is built around the simple central limit order book rather than an automated market maker. But I think if you have both of them, I think this is a case where it just blows away OR. The automated market maker addresses most of the pain points that people face in the decentralized liquidity landscape today. So the DEX launched in 2012. It allowed tokenization of any kind of asset and the ability to trade and move them in just seconds on chain. It provided like globally competitive liquidity, but there was no way to get yield. And sometimes there just wasn't the sort of liquidity that people wanted. So RippleX focused on differentiating our DEX with automated market making in conjunction with the central limit order book and integrated with payments so that these three features work together to provide a feature set that is unmatched. This is not everybody else has automated market makers, now we have them too. This is everybody else had automated market makers because they couldn't build an order book. Imagine an order book on Ethereum. If you think about how order books work, as prices change, people place offers at different rates. They cancel previous offers. If it cost you $13 to place an offer that nobody's likely to take, just to provide liquidity in case someone needs it, that's completely untenable. If your transactions take 10 minutes to confirm, you can't track price changes. We have this own order book because we can, and the functionality of both of them together is just, I don't have words to convey how excited I am about this feature. In October, we're very hopeful that developers will be able to use and test an early version on the developer network so people can build front-end UIs, integrate with new applications, and understand the features that it can provide. I would love to do the whole talk on the automated market maker and get really deep in the weeds, and I'm going to have to fight myself not to get very technical, because this is sort of engineering perfection that certain things have. Any one of you who's worked on something, it doesn't have to be software, it could be cars, it could be bicycles, but anything where you're building something, you reach a point where like everything works together and it just fits really nice, and you're like, yes, this is like really nice. And then there'll be a couple warts somewhere, but they really stand out because the rest of the design is so great. And we're reaching that point. So I want to talk about what makes this so amazing to me.
Here we go,
and
guys.
I will try not to get too deep in the weeds.
Get in those weeds, brother.
Get me started after talking about this. You probably have to like smack me to get me to shut up. So I'm almost not kidding. So people who provide liquidity to the automated market maker. So the automated market maker, in order to trade, it needs assets to trade with. And so people have to sort of loan it assets. They put the assets in the automated market maker's pools, and they get back liquidity tokens. These are tokens, issued assets that are tradable on the DEX.
So he's talking about how you're going to be able to make money and yield once AMMs come out and they're fully integrated into the XRP ledger, okay? This is how you're going to be able to maybe create some passive income for yourself and not have to sell your XRP, because you're going to be able to make maybe a nice passive income through this process. Let me play this.
Their proportional ownership. So these tokens can be traded on the DEX. You can hold them. You don't have to cash them in for your share of the pools if you want. You can just sort of move them around and use them as an asset. And for US holders, this should be very tax efficient. Your gains won't be realized until you sell or dispose of the liquidity token. So if you put a bunch of XRP and a bunch of Bitcoin in a liquidity pool for an AMM, you'll get back some liquidity tokens, which you can just hold. The AMM will do its thing, hopefully producing return for you, and then you can sell those liquidity tokens when you're done, and then that will be, if you're in the US, that's a taxable event, but your money can grow tax-free. Obviously not tax advice, consult experts, but I think we got it. One of the other cool secret sauces is this continuous auction mechanism, which auctions off the right to arbitrage against the automated market maker. So this is something that's completely unique, not available anywhere else. The automated market maker, arbitrageurs will trade against the automated market maker when its pricing is wrong. So the automated market maker doesn't know what the prices are, right? It doesn't have an oracle. It's completely automated and algorithmic. And so its prices can become wrong due to external price action, right? The price of Bitcoin goes up, the price of XRP goes down, the price of things change. And arbitrageurs will trade against it and they'll make a profit. What the automated market maker does is, the arbitrager world is fiercely competitive, right? You're an arbitrager and there's an arbitrager right next to you. If you have a trade that makes you $1, you have to think, do I make this trade to make $1, or do I wait until maybe I'll make $2, $3, or $5? But if you wait too long, somebody else is going to snap it up before you. We want arbitrageurs to work quicker. We don't want arbitrageurs to make the pool suffer such large losses. So what we did is we gave a designated arbitrager who pays a fee for this execution privileges that will allow them to arbitrage more rapidly than anybody else will. And if they're diligent, they should be able to capture a significant fraction of the arbitrage opportunity. Because the pool sells this privilege, it should reap as its own profit a significant fraction of what the arbitrager would make. So say you can make $100 a day arbitraging against a pool, and I can make $100 a day arbitraging against that same pool. We'll compete. We'll bid for that, and maybe I'll bid, $90. And now the pool just made $90 and I only made $10 instead of the pool losing $100. So the pool charges for arbitrage rights. And it does it using its own liquidity tokens as the currency by which you buy these arbitrage slots. And it destroys them when they're paid to the pool. So arbitrageurs who want those arbitrage slots have to acquire liquidity tokens either by putting money into the pool or buying them from other people, and then they're destroyed. And if there are fewer liquidity tokens outstanding, the value of each one goes up because it's a claim against the assets of the pool. Now, another thing that happens is volatility. So external prices change, right? The price of XRP changes, the price of Bitcoin changes. That means the value of the assets the pool holds changes. And that drives up both arbitrager activity. There's only an opportunity to arbitrage if the price is out of whack. One source of the price being out of whack would be changes in the price. But also natural ledger activity, people making payments and offers. All of these things trade against the AMM instance, and the AMM makes a spread. But there's something else going on that's almost more exciting, which is volatility is harvested by the automated market maker. Normally, volatility just results in risk and a reduction in yield. But here, it's a gain in yield. The automated market maker actually implements a trading strategy that converts volatility into yield. I could go on for a very long time about that, but I'm not going to because it's going to take us way in the weeds. But if you see me, again, if you see me outside, trading strategies are something that I'm very, very interested in. If you think about what an automated market maker does, when the price goes up, it sells, and when the price goes down, it buys. That strategy, if you imagine, if you hold Apple stock and the price goes back down and you buy, you make a profit. If the price goes down and you buy and the price goes back up, you make a profit, and you sell, you make a profit. That's what an automated market maker does all day long. In addition, the automated market maker leverages the XRP ledger's inherent advantages. The XRP ledger has very, very fast transactions. The XRP ledger has very, very low transaction cost. These are things that will drive up the revenue and the efficiency of the automated market maker. So if the price of XRP goes up or down, and then it comes back in just a few seconds, if you were on a blockchain like Ethereum, there's no way that you could harvest that volatility because your transactions take several minutes to confirm. There's just no way that you can make that work. But because it is so fast, the trading algorithm can convert volatility into yield much, much more rapidly. Higher transaction fees mean that arbitrageurs wait to transact. If the transaction fee is $13 and you're only going to make $10, you don't submit the transaction, right? You have no choice but to wait. But because the transaction fees are so low on the XRP ledger and the transactions are so fast, that means arbitraging is going to be more efficient and the pool is going to be able to capture more volatility for yield. XRPL's low transaction fees, high transaction fees make arbitraging so much more competitive and so much faster that it reduces the pool's arbitrage losses and increases the pool's volatility. Lastly, the XRP ledger doesn't have block producers. Block producers, if you know anybody know what MEV is? So these are block producers who are finding ways to essentially front run. It would be illegal anywhere else, right? Miners, stakers, block producers, whatever you call them, can front run AMM transactions. But you can't do that on the XRP ledger because there aren't miners, stakers, or block producers. The consensus process doesn't allow any party to be the dictator of the moment to run the block. This makes arbitrage slots more valuable and should increase the returns on the continuous auctions, resulting in more liquidity token destruction and more yield. One of the disadvantages of holding assets like XRP and Bitcoin is their volatility. Right? Why do we have stablecoins? Because volatile assets are hard to hold and use. I'm hopeful that this combination of features in the AMM specification will turn that disadvantage into a significant advantage. AMMs will harvest volatility for yield. Volatility will drive market makers, from which the AMM makes the spread, right? If the price of Bitcoin stays at $20,000, eventually everybody who wants to buy at $20,000 is bought and everybody who wants to sell at $20,000 is sold. It takes a movement in price to really drive that volume. And of course, volatility increases arbitrage profits because the AMM gets more out of balance more, and the AMM gets a cut of those profits through the auction mechanism. So this could really turn the volatility of a digital asset from a downside to an upside. Super excited about it.
Guys, I mean, what other crypto asset do you hold that has this much future value, right? All of this amazing technology is the reason why XRP is the choice from the IMF, World Bank, BIS. That is why all of these central banks are using it. It's cheap, it's fast, it's secure, it's been around, it's been sandbox tested. They know how amazing it is. That is why I hold XRP. And that is why I'm not interested at $1 or $2 or $5. If you're here for that, fantastic. And I hope you take those profits when those days come. But I want to be able to make liquidity. I want to learn how to do all this arbitrage stuff. And I will teach you on this channel once we have more information on the AMMs. Guys, this video has gone a little bit longer, but I hope this gives you value. We looked at Xrpl, we looked at Hooks, and we looked at AMM. So I hope this is valuable, guys. Leave a comment. I'd love to talk with you in the chat. See you soon. Bye.